In this video, we're going to take a look at how to create a passage with questions in Pear assessment. This is going to be really similar to a Canvas stimulus question where you can have a text or a video or a diagram or something and have paired questions with it. So this is going to be really similar, but there's a few different steps to creating a question like this. Pear assessment has a lot of options with it. So I wanted to walk you through this. So from your question type menu, you'd go to passage and then click passage with questions. Now in this editing screen, you'll see there's a few different options. You can add a video, you can add a passage, and it says here add first part to this item. We're going to work on the left-hand side first. I'm going to show you how to add a video and how to add a passage. So if you wanted to add a video for kids to watch a clip of something and then answer questions about it, you're going to click add video and you're going to get this editing screen to pop up. It's going to ask you for a video type. If you click there, it either says YouTube or hosted video. YouTube means you're just using a YouTube link. Hosted video means it's something that is external to YouTube, maybe a video that you created that you can then upload. So if you click YouTube, it's just going to ask you for that URL from YouTube. If you go to hosted video, you would have to then click add and then upload the video that you wanted to use. I'm going to demo this with a YouTube video. So from YouTube, you will get your URL. So you would just copy and paste that from YouTube. Then it's prompting you for a heading that's just basically your title. So I'm just going to use the title of my video as the heading. And then summary, you could either write, a synopsis of the video, you could give the students directions, whatever additional information you want to put there for your students. So I'm just going to put something general, watch the video clip below and answer the associated questions. You can adjust your width and height. I'm just going to leave that as standard. That's something you can always mess with if you want. And you could add a transcript if you wanted to. From there, you can preview your video clip. So you can see here, the video clip shows up. I just picked a Disney short for the purposes of this video. And then you can kind of see how your heading looks, how your summary looks, and then you can always go back to edit mode and change it if you want. You can add metadata for a video, but I'm not going to worry about this with this example. So then I'm going to click save. And it's going to take me back to my main editing screen here, and I can see the video shows up on the left. And I can actually from there now opt to add another video or add another passage. If I need to go back in and edit this video, maybe I realized I put the wrong summary or the wrong title, or I want to use a different video. This grayed out button selection in the middle here is how I can do that. So I can use this arrow button to reorder it. Maybe I'm going to use multiple videos and I want to change the order of them. I can use this to kind of drag and drop. Maybe I need to edit it. I could click the pencil, or if I want to delete it altogether, I can click the trash can. So let's say I want my students to watch this video clip, but I also want them to look at a passage. I'm going to click add passage here. And you don't have to use a video clip and a passage, by the way. You could use multiple passages. You could use a video clip. You could use multiple video clips. You could pair different kinds of texts. I'm just showing you that you're not limited to one thing here. You can always do paired passages and then have students answer questions about the paired passages. So I'm going to click add passage. And then this is set up pretty similarly actually to the Canvas stimulus portion. So there is a heading. You can use whatever you want for your heading. They put section 3. Maybe you have your test divided up into sections or portions. This is just a generic pre-programmed thing that Pear put in there to show you what you could put. I'm going to say, that maybe we're doing some questions over poetry. So I'm going to put my heading as poetry analysis. Title, I'm going to put the title of the poem that I'm using. And actually, I can enter my author down below. So I'm actually going to change that. I'm going to put my author down below and author/source. And then content, I'm going to put my poem there. And you'll notice in the content box, it says enabling a highlightable text passage that can be used across multiple items. So the content that you put in this question type is students are able to highlight it, which might be nice depending on the skills you're working on. And you can also then use this text for multiple items, is what that's saying. So I'm just going to paste my poem in here. Get rid of that pre-programmed information. You can always adjust your font size, bold, fix your spacing, whatever you need to do. And then if you scroll down, there's this area called details. That's where you can add a reading level if you want. That is optional. You don't have to do that. And you can also add an instructor stimulus. Maybe there's additional information you want to add. Maybe there is a specific question you want to pose at the top of your text. Again, that is optional. You don't have to do that. You can always put something in there and see if you like how that works. Another option for this type of question is called paginated content, which basically allows students to read through a passage as if it was a book. They can click from one page to the next. So let's say there was a bit of a longer text you wanted students to read, and you wanted them to be able to click through it like it was a book. You could enable paginated content and then add different pages, different sections for the students to read. I'm then going to preview my poem here. I can see what it looks like. I'm happy with that, so I'm going to click Save. And now I can see I have both my video and my poem. And I can go ahead and add questions. And by the way, you don't have to use two things. I just wanted to show you both of those types, so you can always delete one of them at any time. Now we're going to get into how to actually add a question to this type of item. So on the right here, you're going to click this green add first part to this item. And it's going to take you back to your question type menu. With this type of question, you can pair really any type of Edulastic or Pear assessment question to a passage or video. So you can go through your multiple choice items, fill in the blanks, write written, all of these different things depending on what you want to accomplish. I'm going to add a written question. Let's say I want students to, analyze this text and I want a written response. I'm going to click Essay with Rich Text. And then it's going to take you to the Essay with Rich Text editing space. I'm going to enter my question. For the sake of this, I'm just going to put a sample question 1. You can set a word limit if you want. You can set a grading rubric if you want. You can do all these different question settings. We do have another video available with adding a grading rubric, so you can always check that out. But you can go through this, add all your different information, update your question. I always like to preview it just to make sure that I like how that looks. And then you can add your metadata. So remember, your metadata is basically your standards for a question. You can add a depth of knowledge, a difficulty level. It is data that will be tied to this specific question that then you can use to track students' progress with a specific standard, see how students do on a certain type of question. So for this assessment, I was doing this as an English language arts, a 9th and 10th grade. So from this drop-down box, if you don't have anything there, you can just click that. You can select your subject. You can select your standard set, which make sure you have your standard set in your profile, like we talked about earlier. Make sure you add that in there. You can select your grade level. I like to put my grade level in just because it will clean up that standards search when you go to search for those. Because right now this is general English language arts, which is going to give you all your K-12 standards. So I'm going to put in my specific grades. And then when I go to search standards, it's going to load in all my 9-10 standards, which is just kind of nice. It's going to narrow that search for you. I'm just putting in a generic standard for the sake of this video. So I would click the standard that I want. Maybe there's more than one. You could always select more than one if you want. You can always add in your depth of knowledge, your difficulty level, etc. And then I'm going to click save. Now you have the option of either adding a part BC to this item or adding a whole new item to this passage. What adding a part BC will do is you will have your text on the left, and then on the right, you'll have your question A and your question B or your question C if you add multiple. So I would use this option if you're trying to add questions that are associated together. For example, maybe you're going to have the students write a short response, but then in part B, maybe they need to identify the text evidence that is tied to their response, right? If you're going to have questions that kind of go together, or maybe you're doing a math question where the students are figuring out different parts of a three-dimensional figure, and you want question A to be finding the lateral area, part B, find the surface area, part C, find the volume, right? So you would do that with questions that go together. So I'm going to show you how to add a part B. For this one, again, you can click any question type you want. I'm just going to go to multiple choice. My basic multiple choice question here, I'm going to add in, this is sample question 2. Again, you can add in all of your different question settings as you see fit. There are lots of videos out there on how to program these questions, or you can always see me for help if you need it. We're going to preview. It looks good. And then we're going to add our metadata. Since my previous question was tied to this standard set and aligned to RC1, that showed up again. You can always update that. So maybe this question does not align to RC1. Maybe it's a different question. I can clear that out and pick a different standard, and then I can save that. So now I have this passage with 2 different questions. And if I go to preview mode, this is what it would look like for the students. So they're going to have their videos, their passages on the left, and these 2 sample or these 2 questions together on the same page. The next thing I'm going to show you is how to add a whole new item. So this is going to be a whole new test question. They're still going to have their texts or their videos on the left, but a brand new question on the right. Maybe this one, didn't have anything to do with the other ones. Maybe it's a different part of the text that they're analyzing, whatever it is. So I'm going to click add a new item to passage. And then I'm going to click add first part to this item. And now again, I get back to my menu and I can click whatever I want. Maybe I want this to be a resequencing question where I can put things in a certain order. So this is going to be sample question 3. I want kids to put things in a list. So item A, B, or C. And then I'm going to select my correct order here. Maybe it needs to go B, C, A. I can select all my test settings just like always. Go to my preview mode and then add my metadata again. We still have our standard set for this test. And I'm going to just add in what standard this aligns to and click save. So now you can see up at the top left, this is showing that this passage has two different question sections associated with it. So if I click and go back to 1, I'm now on that first part A, part B problem. If I go and click 2, I'm now on my reordering question. So it does kind of separate them in this editing view. Like if I go to preview mode here, I'm only going to see item 2, my reordering question. So you can do that as many times as you want for your passage or your videos. You can add a lot of different questions to it, as many as you want. It could be the whole test if you're trying to do something maybe over a cold read or analyzing a video. I'm going to say that's all I want, just these 3 little questions. I'm going to click Save now. Once I click Save in my assessment, it's going to take me back to this review page. You can always, update your description. You can add more items. You can review your test. You can do your settings. Now, I'm going to show you guys what this will look like for a student. So I have my question here. I can see here there's 2 items in it. My first item being my part A, part B question. My second item being my resequencing question. I can see that I've aligned this to standards. And I can preview it, move it, delete it, whatever I need to do. I'm going to go to View as Student. And now you can kind of see what this is going to look like for one of your students. They're going to have their videos and passages on the left. And for question 1, I have my part A and my part B all on the same page together. Then if kids click Next, it takes them to the resequencing question. So they are separated because you added a new item versus doing a part A, part B, part C. So that's all with this question type. If you need any help with this or you're interested in using it, you can always reach out to me and I'm happy to help you go through how to use this type of question in your class.